Good morning, friends, family, and fellow YouTubers. Our woodworking community here is a family, so I hope you don't mind you've been adopted. So, this morning, we're back in the shop. We're going to continue. This will be part 2 of our Longmill assembly. Let me grab this. As you know, from our unboxing video, this is the only sheet of paper that came with our Longmill, and it has resources here. There's a resource on assembling the Longmill. I printed out the few pages that were there. Most of this is actually hyperlinks and videos, but this will help me follow along so I don't have to keep referring to the laptop side from where it directs me to do so. And I have previously viewed these videos around the time that I ordered my Longmill, but as we get into this assembly, I am just going to follow along, and I will pause the video at that point because it's copyrighted material, so I'm not going to show that on video. But I can put a hyperlink in the description to where you can find this resource and have a look for yourself. It is just on their page. You don't have to have purchased the Longmill to take a look. I found it to be fairly comprehensive for something that's very slow or very simple. Their idea is that they send the kit to keep the costs down, and I'm fine with that. So anyway, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to pause, and I'm going to bring up the Longmill resource page right there. I will link to this so that you can find it for yourself. So I'm going to pause. And okay, friends, as you can see, I have brought up the resource page for the Longmill Mark II. I'm not going to get any closer. I'm not going to play those videos while we're doing this video, because I am not, I'm not affiliated with them. I bought my Longmill, but I don't want to show any copyrighted material. So I'm going to go let my dog in and then watch that first resource video, and I'll get right back to you. I'm back again, friends. So this is the packet I printed out. It might be 20 pages. And our first video, after we go to the Longmill resource page, and there was a discrepancy. It seems that URL has changed. What I did, and I looked at it, it looks exactly the same as we sometimes discover. So I just put the URL in and allowed Google Gemini to trace that for me, and it's just however they have set up the URL. It's looking at a slightly different page address, so that will help you out. I will put in the address where I actually found the page, and if you have trouble, just pop it in Google and click the AI assist button and it'll find it for you. I hate using AI, but in this case it has its uses. So anyway, we're getting on, and of course bookmark these pages. If you have the slightest interest in a Longmill, this will help you out very, very much. So next we are going down, and this just tells you about the Mark II resource page. And in my printout, there are links for software assembly, the actual handbook for the machine. And now it doesn't show you, but down the left side of the page, right here, is where you will find all of the links. And I would imagine if you print this out into a printable document, it's probably a couple of hundred pages. So if you don't want to waste ink and or paper, you may, if it's easier for you to just follow the videos and the instructions on the web page, you may decide to do that. I like a little combination thereof. I don't want to have to rely on the computer solely, because if I want to make a note, I don't want to have to figure out how to make a live note, or make a note on a live page. So anyway, there's also a community on Facebook, and there are all kinds of resources. I belong to a couple of the CNC communities, and they are generally very, very helpful. There are a couple of guys in the one forum geared mostly toward the old Chain Smart machine that like using that would have been very difficult for me if I hadn't met those people. So shouting out to them, even though I'm not naming names. And then everybody seems happy to work at CNC Labs. They're frankly a bunch of nerds doing techie stuff all day, and like, it looks like a fun place to work because there's always something good going on. All right, so we've gone through the unboxing, and so I'm not going to bore you with that. And so we downloaded our PDFs, which is what we're holding. All right, so I'm at a place where I need to watch the next video in the playlist, which is the assembly part 1. And after I watch that, I'm going to go ahead and set it up, and then I'll walk you through what I learned, okay? Thank you. Okay, gang, I just spent an hour hunting around for the assembly instruction video, and it's not poorly laid out, but the materials and the machine are not the same age. So finally I did find the video, and it referred me to a QR code. And so now I'm going to go and grab that QR code. I need my phone to do that, so I can't bring you along. But it will open the manual, and the video will be there. And then I will link to all of that stuff so that you can find it on your own. Alright, see you in a few. Alright, you all. I went out and shot that QR code, and it took me right to the page that I needed to be looking at. And so I'm going to continue watching this video and then get back with you. I'm going to follow his instructions to get this all laid out, and then we'll get into it. Okay, gang, so I watched a little further into the assembly video, and we've gotten through the unboxing and the inventory. So, or the basic inventory. We haven't got into all the small parts yet. So let me turn the camera around, and I will tell you what we're dealing with here. Alright, here we have our rails, and these are the X rails, and this is the Y axis. These are the drag chains and the drive screws, 2 hardware bags, and these are the feet of our machine. Essentially everything, these mount, and then everything mounts to it. And these are the actual feet. These are plastic, but it's like, it's heavyweight stuff. And this is the power supply. These are the Y-axis gantries. This is the Z-axis gantry. This is a mounting plate. And this is the router mount. And here I showed you yesterday, we have the zero touch plate, the dust shoe, everything else I've laid out. This is a super longboard controller. These are our stepper motors and wires. Back there is the Makita router I showed you yesterday, and there are our limit switches. So, I am going to get into the rest of the video, and then we will do the first step of basic assembly. Thank you. Alright, you all. I have watched another significant portion of that video, and I'll turn you around and show you what I've done. Okay, first thing, I set the rails, drag chain, and the Y-axis aside. And I've arranged our parts as the fellow in the video did. I have our guide wheels, extra bearings, washers, the longer M5, some stop collars, clamping nuts, the second hardware bag, which we don't use until closer to the end, the feet, the legs, all arranged there where I can find them. Over here, our first assembly project, I need the gantries. I will need this mount and the router mount. Our hardware will be these nut blocks. These, evidently these are used to be made of brass. They are, well, they might still be brass, but they sure don't look it. Some M5 nylock nuts and some M5 16mm screws. So I will go ahead and get set up, and you can watch the assembly. I will probably use my overhead camera mount so that you can see what's going on. Thank you.